everybody, and welcome to our top 10 quick comic picks. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our really quick show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are coming out this week to comic book stores. You can head on over to infinityflux.net right now, where you can purchase the books that we are talking about, and they'll be ready for you on release day. Now, a little disclaimer. There's been some shakeups with DC and their shipping, so we actually, once again, did not get them here. But stay tuned. If they come in time, there will be a show tomorrow that'll be covering a lot of the DC books coming out. But we've got Marvel and Boom and some other awesome stuff this week to talk about. So let's get into it with this magical first book.
This is The Moon is Following Us #1. Now, we have an image here because we don't have our image books yet either, but we were able to read a digital copy of this. And this book is fantastic. This is by Daniel Warren Johnson. The art is by Raleigh Rossmo. And this is a little bit sci-fi, a little bit fantasy about a husband-wife duo named Duncan and Sam. They are trying to rescue their daughter Penny, who they say were taken from them 6 months ago. We see them trying to infiltrate this big medieval type fortress to try to save their daughter. They're getting some help from some fantasy type creatures, maybe some talking animals and things like that. But this is just a really cool, interesting fantasy book. Like I said, little bits of sci-fi, and it's going to be a 10-issue series, so we're in for a really nice adventure-filled series with this.
Pop. Next up, I have Dazzler #1. It feels like we've been talking about this book for a really long time. It was solicited or revealed months ago.
Yeah.
But this is really cool. So this is going to be a mini series after the Krakoan era. We've got Alison Blair, who is Dazzler, who has decided to, shift her focus from being a mutant superhero to being a superstar once again. So she is going to go back on the road this time with her stagehand, Multiple Man, and her roadie, Strong Guy. Really fun crew, but of course there are the mutant hating groups out there protesting her concerts and all of that. So she's going to have to put on a worldwide tour, all the while supervillains and the like are trying to get to her. And in this first one, her first concert is not going to go super well, but can she power through it?
Well, next we have Deadpool #6, and this is the first appearance of Deadpool's daughter, Ellie, as Deadpool, although she's not really referred to by that name. But after his battle with Death Group last issue, Deadpool's a little bit out of commission, but he knows that his business still needs to bring in some money, so he sends out Ellie and Taskmaster and his symbiote dog/daughter Princess to steal a briefcase from a Russian mobster. But of course, that's easier said than done. And then at the end, this takes a little bit of a dark turn. So really nice action-packed issue of Deadpool with some serious things at the very end.
So is this the first? This is the first appearance of his daughter as as this character.
Yep.
Deadpool.
Yep, correct.
Okay, next up, I've got X-Men #4. So continues on this great series. In this one, Trevor Fitzroy, who is a mutant leader of a group called the Upstarts, which is a team apparently we've seen back in the Ecstatics series. Basically comes out and says, I want to be on humanity's good side, so y'all don't like these new mutants popping up. What if this team of mutants, goes out and kills them and live streams it? So it's up to our X-Men team to stop them, but Cyclops is busy with a mission with Psylocke and Quentin Quire, and Task Magic with leading this team going up against this very strange group of mutants, and especially one of them called Orifice. And you'll have to read it to see that character, but this was really interesting. Beast goes with him as well, even though he's hesitant to leave the lab. But a really fun issue with a lot of action.
And next up is Spirits of Vengeance #1, and this is going to be a miniseries that features a bunch of different Ghost Riders: Johnny Blaze, Danny Ketch, Vengeance from the 90s, Robbie Reyes, and a few others. And this issue is all about the return of Vengeance. He has been out of commission for a while, and he is basically being used as a scarecrow. His skeleton is being hung up as a scarecrow, but when some teenagers start messing with him, two of them start fighting, and that sort of reawakens his spirit, brings him back to quote-unquote life. But he gets into a confrontation later with one of their fathers, and it goes about how you would expect. So just the very first issue of a brand new Spirits of Vengeance miniseries.
And I've got a really fun one. This is Mutant Nation. So this is our next kind of runs along parallel with our new Ninja Turtles book. And this is really cool. So this has two stories in it. The first one, they both seem like they're going to be ongoing for the series for a little bit, but this first one is set in Arizona. There is a biker bar, and when stuff starts going down, and some of the patrons there start treating one of the waitresses bad, little do they know that the bouncer of this establishment is Raphael. So a lot of fun there as Raphael has to deal with some thugs, and he's kind of on the road, kind of nomad like, but he's heading somewhere until an old friend stops him, but not in a great way. You'll have to read it to see, but this was a really fun issue. Plus, there's a backup story about April O'Neil and Casey Jones, and kind of some of the stuff that's going on back in New York. So you don't want to miss this if you're reading all the Ninja Turtles books.
Well, next up is this Deathlok 50th anniversary special. This is just a one-shot celebrating the 50th anniversary of the first appearance of Deathlok. This story sees him going into this war-torn Manhattan on another Earth in order to save his former captain, Simon Riker, but he's going to run into several different obstacles that he has to deal with. So if you're a big Deathlok fan, as all of us were in the 90s, you're definitely going to want to check this out.
Next up for me, I've got Star Wars Darth Vader number 50. This is the final issue of Darth Vader for the foreseeable future. This was, one of the two main series that have been going since 2015. They've had their renumberings and stuff, but essentially it's been this big run of Darth Vader. And this wraps up a ton of our storyline. So stuff with Sabe, stuff with Ochi of Bestoon, and some of the other kind of little plots here and there are all wrapped up in this issue and getting us ready to head right into Return of the Jedi with this one. So if you've been reading it for so many years, sad to see it come to a close, but I'm excited for what's to come with Star Wars books.
And last for me is Spider-Man Black Suit and Blood number 2. And just like the first issue, this features 3 different little short one and done stories, all in black and white with red accents. We get a story where Spider-Man is fighting the Shocker. He gets knocked out and the symbiote takes over. And things get a little bit dangerous there. And we get a really cool story written and drawn by Dan Jurgens featuring Spider-Man and Daredevil fighting Bullseye. And it's really cool because everything's in black and white except Daredevil. He's all in red. And it looks great. So just 3 more really fun stories of Spider-Man wearing the black suit.
And lastly, I've got a really interesting one. This is the Graveyard Club. And if you see it right here, it's actually like trade paperback size, but it also is a number 1. This is a $9.99 book written by R.L. Stine with art by Carola Borelli. And this is really cool. Of course, this is a graphic novel size. I did not get a chance to read the whole thing, but it is a kind of a coming-of-age horror book set in a place called Gravesend, a sleepy little town that's surrounded by graveyards, and that's the kids used to play there when they were young. They've kind of lived a life so close to death, and it's a town where there's more dead than alive. But a high schooler named Parker West plays a prank one day that may have long ramifications to the townspeople, his friends, and all of that, as maybe there's some supernatural stuff, but it's subtle. This isn't just monster in your face. This is definitely like almost like Final Destination. So you have to read it to find out. But this is going to be a series and their graphic novel size, which is awesome. So don't miss that one. And once again, perfect for spooky season and a whole big book to read. Yeah. So that is it for our top 10 quick comic picks. Part 1, right. Stay tuned. Hopefully part 2 tomorrow. I might not be here, but Matt will be here to talk about the DC books and some of the Image books coming out, all of that. And there's some great ones coming out, so you don't want to miss that. But everything that we just talked about is up on infinityflux.net right now, where you can order it. And then as the DC and the rest of it come in, you'll be able to order those as well. But thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya.